So today I'm going to do a technique called scrying, and I will use this pastel medium in order to understand the nature of hypervigilance. So far, the role of hypervigilance, or the state of hypervigilance, the role of it is intended as self-protection, especially protection of what is thought to be the most fragile yet most truthful parts of the self, which is hidden and protected from the external world. Or this is in the case of a person who is in a state of hypervigilance. But its shadow is that it can limit one's growth, block the truth from coming out, increase one's stress, and also have a ripple effect on others around them. And so the agitated and fragmented state that hypervigilance causes then bleeds out into the external, your reality, and so affecting others around this hypervigilant person. So I'm going to understand and discover and explore more, and here it goes. I've stopped now because I've gotten that feeling to just pause, because it looks like we might have enough information to highlight and outline. So before I begin my outlines, I'd just like to say that I felt the need to say that one main way to break out of hypervigilance is, I was gonna say, to confront with compassion parts of yourself that are either fragmented, hiding, or that you think might be in danger if exposed to reality, and to build your own protection without having a shield up, or being overly hypervigilant. So it would require, metaphorically speaking, a dissection, or delving deep into your own mind. And there's a need to go beyond the surface level, or what appears. Things aren't as they appear to be at first glance. But the hypervigilant person is overly aware of everything, even if the data itself isn't that important. So I'm going to now sketch out what I'm seeing. Hold on. This looks like a... You might want to play this at *2 speed or something. It kind of looks like one of those camera things. Okay, yep, I've effed it up in a way, but doesn't matter. is shining out some sort of, or projector, something like that. One of those old-fashioned thingies. I have no idea if it looks like this, but that's how I've recognized it as. Right. What is it shining at? What is it showing? Okay, yeah, this is gonna need some time to really uncover this stuff. Okay, see you in the next one. So I have got a very clear picture of what is going on. This is supposed to be a teapot. What the incarnation? Oh my gosh, what is that? Pointy hat. Yeah, anyway. And a little teacup. Also struggling teacup. Okay, so hypervigilance. Wow. Okay. So I'm identifying two main causes that enables and also reinforces hypervigilance. So this is supposed to be a wall and a person is behind it trying to look at that. They have their arms crossed around their heart space and something is glowing, and it's like they want to protect that but are in this hyper aware state where everything is made an emergency or high alert. And so the word fright came out, and also this projecting thing, I think it's supposed to be for projection. So fill in the blanks. That's exactly how it sounds. That means other people here interpret this giant wall that this person has up, metaphorically speaking, of course, as a peculiar thing, like an uncertainty, and even as, you know, a mirror, not just a wall, both a wall and a mirror, and the mirror reflects back all sorts of different things here, which I'll explain this one, which causes the other person to fill in the blanks and assume and project things about the hypervigilant person. And so the hypervigilant person picks up on that, and this causes this reinforcement loop, which leads to more projection, more misunderstanding, more hypervigilance, and so on. And this allows others to actually, this is going to be very honest, as always, scrying is quite honest, you know. And this stuff, I have actually experienced, you know, all of it. I have been in a state of stress and hypervigilance for, I'd say, most of my life, actually, until I managed to break free from it, which I'm very grateful for. And so this, what I was going to say, this allows others to paint any story, right? This is a paintbrush. Paint any story about said hypervigilant person. Because they just can't see that clearly. They just can't, oh, and look at that. A person's brain, their mind, like their head. That's where this projector thing is coming out of. And they look a little confused, like they don't know what they're really... Okay, I effed up the eye. what they're really picking up on. That, okay. And the second main narrative here I was gonna say. So, it's often true that those who are hypervigilant also have a very, okay, this is not scientific, but this is my theory based on my own experience and also some psychology natural thing I naturally know intuitively, okay? And so, imagine, okay, metaphorically speaking, okay, this is someone's energetic state or the main state of their mood and how they show up as. This is showing fragmentation with all these cracks here, you know, and these different faces are showing all sorts of different confusing things, you know, happy face, sad face, surprise, shock, uncertainty. And there is this mirror with a question mark on it, and this is what in itself reinforces the mirror effect, and also reinforces people projecting, you know. And look at this person is, you know, shocked, you know, and they just can't figure it out. They can't figure this out energetically. They just, so in summary, what they feel is they feel uncomfortable. And because of their own discomfort, because this is likely a dysregulated person, because of their own discomfort, they see bad things in this reflection of this mirror. And therefore they will sadly never be able to see the hypervigilant person for what they actually are, you know, that they're scared inside and that they're just trying to protect themselves in most cases. But others really can't see it that clearly, especially if they themselves are quite anxious, if they themselves have unresolved, you know, issues, traumas, you know, their shadow in itself. You know, one day they might see this part of the hypervigilant person, the nice, happy, chill part, and so they may approach slowly. Another moment, the hypervigilant person quickly shifts between these fragmented states, and so this causes even more anxiety in others. Okay, this is not a way to blame anyone who's hypervigilant. Like, trust me, like, I've been there before. This has been how many times in my life I have been repeatedly misunderstood, repeatedly, like, just people would assume all sorts of untrue things about me, and then they'd be like, oh, you know what, you're actually, you know, not that bad, you're not that scary as I thought you were gonna be, oh, you're actually quite nice. And I'm thinking, huh? But anyway, and another thing, right, because there were 4 main elements here I wanted to discuss. The domino effect. Okay, these are supposed to be dominoes, and I pictured them like dominoes falling on top of each other. This is the ripple effect that I've mentioned earlier, where, and again, this is my theory based on my own experience, where in any group setting, say this is a group, any group setting, and most of these people have not done their shadow work or are quite dysregulated, like this person. Okay, they all energetically decide to latch onto or hook onto an anchor, something supportive or something they deem, you know, worthy of attention, whether that's negative attention or positive attention. They all, with the hive mind, no offense, but it's true, with a hive mind all hook onto the one outlier. Usually, that's the hypervigilant person, or someone who is outside of this pool, of this group of people. So, or another thing is that they also latch on to who seems to be the most stable. They latch on to one that appears put together, most stable, and genuinely authentic and calm. And so the calm person reflects calmness back, and so the group itself feels more soothed. But the hypervigilant person that draws their negative attention, if this is positive, negative attention, or I should say neutral, really, not just positive, I forgot to spell neutral. Okay, negative attention on the terrified hypervigilant person. Yep. Which kind of explains why if two people are complaining in a group, then what happens is eventually, if those two people are complaining enough, they pull down the rest of the group, and the rest of the group becomes influenced by that energy, and they all start to become chronic complainers, or they all reinforce this culture or habit of complaining, or wherever it may be. That's why it's very important you check who you are surrounding yourselves with. Are they, partaking in a lot of negative habits that can eventually drag you down and influence you, or are they more aligned with, this stable, calm, or someone genuinely trying to heal, And this isn't me saying, I'm more superior, or the healed person is a better person than the unhealed person. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying that these days, especially, compared to, I'd say the past, right? Now it's even worse with all this influence from media, from the news, so we are getting blasted with constant negativity and information that can actually weigh us down and drag us down, But yeah. And also, this teapot here gives me a big clue about the solution. And also I'm using my own knowledge to how I broke free from being overly hyper-vigilant. Yeah. So, what is a teapot and tea a symbol of? Well, it can be a symbol of many things. It could be a symbol of comfort, rest, leisure as well, if you want to add, or security, something safe, cozy, which is actually the antidote to hypervigilance. So the more you build yourself in your mind this state of comfort, rest, security that is not rooted in trying to being overly alert to every single perceived thing. Because remember, the hypervigilant person is also assuming, yet they don't know it, they're also assuming that everyone is out to get them or attack them. And these other people are assuming back, hostility, of rejection, or all sorts of assumptions. So they're in a what was it? Lump? No, in an assumption loop where each party or person involved reinforces the other. And this is why, honestly, it is actually one of the most difficult things I have ever done in my life to actually break free from hypervigilance. Okay, this was not overnight, guys. This was, me constantly reinforcing a state of more comfort, rest, even by like sleeping more, or making sure my mind rests and releases difficult things as much as possible. So you have to empty out your garbage. And so much so, things that you no longer resonate with, untrue, hurtful narratives about yourself. You have to feel and remember all that and then let it go. That's your closure, You can provide your own mind with all the closure you need from any sort of hurtful situation. You understand the emotion, motive, or logic behind it. And even sometimes without understanding it, you can say, what is not my responsibility to carry anymore? Whatever happened has happened. And what is the story that I can take from this, or the lesson? I know that helps quite a lot of people, and it's not in any way, victim blaming or anything, because yes, bad things happen in life, and I think that's just, in a way, it's just a part of life. You can't completely bypass suffering, but you can ease yourself and overcome these things, or even prevent certain dangers from happening. So there's a saying that is often said that the best cure in the world is actually, it's not any form of medicine, but it's prevention. Prevention is the best cure. Because if you don't go through these things, it saves you. So I was going to say, it saves you from future traumas and even more repeated reinforcement of bad cycles. And this is all about hypervigilance, and these were the main elements that I've picked up on. I really hope that this was helpful to someone, and I know it's not easy, but you've got this, like, one baby step at a time. It really makes all the difference. Like, you can start by like 1% each day. Be like, okay, today I'm going to make myself, it could be super easy, make myself a lovely cup of tea, or like my favorite coffee or beverage. And then the next day you can say, okay, I'm gonna listen to my absolute favorite, oh my god, music, my absolute favorite music from childhood, or whatever it is. Go on a nostalgia festival, right? Nostalgia, and reminisce on the good moments, the cozy moments, and eventually that will outweigh and push out those bad memories and as long as you take the lessons from them. So absorb the lessons and then take out the trash. Okay, you don't need this weighing you down anymore. You don't need this to keep you stuck in hypervigilance. Okay, if you enjoyed this type of content and art, it was very fun, honestly. And yes, I did channel this, and scrying is a form of intuitive drawing or looking, you know, like scrying from a water bowl, you know, a scrying bowl as done traditionally. So yeah, please like or subscribe if you'd like to see similar content. I also do collective readings